Captain Ben Rodriguez stared at the sensor screen in disbelief. 3 massive ships hung in space near Kepler Station, humanity's furthest outpost. The vessels were unlike anything in human design. They were dark metal, covered in spikes and strange symbols. Each ship was twice the size of Earth's largest warship. "Are you getting this, Amy?" Ben asked his communications officer. Lieutenant Amy Chen nodded, her hands shaking as she worked her controls. "I'm recording everything, Captain. These ships just appeared out of nowhere. No jump signatures, no engine trails. They just showed up." The Pioneer was a small exploration vessel. It carried 20 crew members and was designed for peaceful research. Ben's ship had shields and armor to protect against space debris, but no weapons. Why would an exploration ship need weapons? Try. "Standard first contact protocols," Ben ordered. "Send the friendship message in all known languages and mathematical sequences." Amy transmitted the carefully prepared greeting that humanity had developed for this exact moment. Scientists had spent decades creating the perfect message to introduce Earth to alien civilizations. It included prime numbers, pictures of humans, maps of human space, and symbols of peace. The alien ships responded immediately, but not with words. Green energy beams lanced out from the largest vessel. Kepler Station, home to 5,000 humans, exploded in a ball of fire. The metal twisted and melted. The fusion reactors went critical. In seconds, the entire station was gone. 5,000 people died without warning. "Oh, God," Amy whispered. They just killed everyone." More beams reached out toward the colony ships near the station. The passenger liner New Hope, carrying 3,000 colonists to their new home, vanished in green fire. The cargo hauler Big Sky, loaded with supplies for the outer colonies, broke apart as alien weapons tore through its hull. Ben's mind struggled to understand what he was seeing. This was not how first contact was supposed to happen. The aliens had not tried to communicate. They had not demanded surrender. They had simply started killing humans. "Captain, we're getting signals from across the sector," Amy reported. "Colony. Ships are reporting attacks. The mining station at Proxima is gone. The research base on Wolf 359 is under attack." The largest alien ship turned toward the Pioneer. Ben could see weapon ports opening along its hull. The ship was beautiful in a terrifying way. Its dark metal seemed to absorb light. Strange writing covered its surface in flowing lines. "Amy, send everything we've recorded back to Earth. Emergency transmission. Tell them we made contact with a hostile alien species. Tell them these aliens are attacking all human settlements." Amy's fingers flew over her controls. "Transmitting now, Captain. But, sir, that ship is targeting us." Ben looked at his crew. They were scientists and engineers, not soldiers. They had spent their lives studying stars and planets. None of them had ever imagined they would die in humanity's first alien war. "Get the message out," Ben said quietly. "Whatever happens to us, Earth needs to know." The alien ship fired. Green energy washed over the Pioneer. The shields held for 3 seconds, then collapsed. The hull began to melt. Emergency systems screamed warnings as life support failed. Amy kept transmitting even as her console sparked and caught fire. "Message sent, Captain. Earth will know what happened here." The Pioneer broke apart. Ben and his crew died in the cold vacuum of space. But their warning reached Earth. Admiral Kate Sullivan was reviewing supply reports when the emergency signal arrived. She read Amy Chen's transmission 3 times before the words made sense. "Hostile aliens. Multiple colony ships destroyed. Kepler Station gone. First contact was not peaceful." "This has to be a mistake," Kate said to her aide. Some kind of sensor, malfunction, or computer error. But more messages were arriving every minute. Reports flooded in from across human space. The aliens were everywhere. They attacked without warning and without mercy. They destroyed everything they found. President. Laura Scott called an emergency meeting of Earth's government. Leaders from every continent gathered in the Great Hall. Kate had never seen them look so frightened. How many ships do we have? The president asked. 200 total, Kate replied. But most are patrol boats and cargo haulers. Only 20 are real warships and their old designs. We've never needed a strong military. What about the colonies? How many people are out there? 2 billion across 47 worlds. Most colonies have no defenses at all. They rely on our patrol ships for protection. The reports kept coming. The alien fleet was moving toward the inner colonies. They destroyed everything in their path. Human ships that tried to fight were vaporized instantly. Ships that tried to run were hunted down and killed. General Rick Hayes, head of Earth's Small Defense Force, studied the tactical reports. These aliens have technology far beyond ours. Their weapons cut through our shields like paper. Their ships are faster and more powerful than anything we have. What do they want? President Scott asked. An answer came from the alien fleet itself. A transmission in perfect English reached Earth's communications array. The voice was cold and mechanical. I am war leader Zeph of the Zephyrian Empire. Your species has been judged and found inferior. You will surrender your worlds and submit to imperial rule, or you will be destroyed. You have one standard day to comply. The transmission showed images of other worlds the aliens had conquered, dozens of different species, all reduced to slavery, entire civilizations wiped out for resisting. The Zephyrians had been doing this for 1,000 years. They're not explorers, General Hayes said quietly. They're conquerors. This is how they expand their empire. They find peaceful species and crush them. Refugee ships began arriving at Earth. The survivors told horrible stories, alien soldiers who showed no mercy, weapons that turned cities into glass, entire planets burned from orbit until nothing lived. Captain Ellen Wright commanded one of the few human warships to escape. An alien attack. Her ship, the Defender, had been patrolling the outer colonies when the invasion began. She had watched 3 colony worlds die. They don't negotiate, Ellen reported to Earth Command. They don't take prisoners. They just kill everything that moves. I've never seen weapons like theirs. They don't just destroy ships, they completely vaporize them. The alien ultimatum deadline was approaching. President Scott faced an impossible choice. Surrender meant slavery for all humanity. Fighting meant extinction. Human weapons could not hurt the alien ships. Human shields could not stop alien weapons. What about the old war machines? Dr. Marcus Cole suggested during a desperate strategy meeting. The underground complexes from before the unification. They're still sealed, but they might have weapons we could use. Admiral Kate Sullivan shook her head. Those facilities have been closed for 3 centuries. We don't even know if they still work. And even if they do, how could 300-year-old weapons fight this enemy? Because our ancestors built them to fight for humanity's survival, Marcus replied. They faced extinction once before and found a way to win. Maybe they left us the tools to do it again. Earth's government faced the hardest decision in human history. They could surrender and hope the aliens would be merciful. They could fight with their small fleet and die quickly. Or they could wake the sleeping war machines and risk everything on weapons from humanity's violent past. President Scott looked at the faces around the table. These were good people who had spent their lives building a peaceful world. Now they had to decide whether to destroy that peace to save their species. "Open the war machine complexes," she ordered. God help us, all. The aliens were coming, and humanity was about to remember how to fight. Commander Jake Morrison floated in the observation deck of Station Alpha, watching Earth slowly turn below. The blue and green planet looked peaceful in the morning sunlight. White clouds drifted across the continents like cotton balls. Jake had been doing this job for 10 years, and every day still amazed him. Earth was beautiful. His job was simple. He made sure the orbital defense stations ran smoothly. Most days, nothing happened. Ships came and went. Cargo moved between the stations and the planet. Sometimes a small asteroid drifted too close, and they would gently push it away with tractor beams. It was boring work, and Jake liked it that way. The year was 2387. Humanity had been at peace for 300 years. The old nations had joined together after the Great Unification Wars. There were no more countries fighting each other. No more armies marching across borders. No more nuclear weapons pointing at cities. People focused on better things now. Dr. Lisa Parker worked in her lab on the surface, far below Jake's station. She was developing new ways to change dead planets into places where humans could live. Her team had already helped create gardens on Mars and Europa. They were working on a plan to bring life to 12 more worlds in the next 50 years. Lisa loved her work. Every day she helped humanity spread across the stars in peace. Captain Ben Rodriguez commanded a small exploration ship called the Pioneer. He was returning from a 3-month trip to map new star systems beyond human space. Ben's job was to find planets where humans might want to build colonies. He looked for worlds with water, good air, and safe places to land. His ship was not built for fighting. It had science equipment and comfortable rooms for long trips. Ben's crew of 20 people were all scientists and engineers. They studied rocks, took pictures of strange plants, and measured radiation levels. When they found something interesting, they would send detailed reports back to Earth. The Pioneer had strong shields to protect against space rocks and cosmic storms, but no weapons. Why would an exploration ship need weapons? Humans had never met any aliens, and space was vast and empty. Admiral Kate Sullivan sat in her office at Defense Command on Earth. She was reviewing the yearly budget for humanity's small military. Every year, the government gave them less money. Every year, politicians asked why they needed any military at all. Earth had colonies on 47 worlds, and they all lived in peace. Trade ships moved goods between the stars. Passenger liners carried families to new homes on distant planets. Kate's fleet consisted of 200 ships. Most were patrol boats that checked on remote colonies and helped ships in trouble. 50 were larger vessels that could carry troops to disaster areas or evacuate people from dangerous places. Only 20 were real warships, and those were old, designs built mostly for show. They looked impressive in parades, but Kate knew they would be useless in a real fight. Not that anyone expected a real fight. The biggest military action in the past 50 years had been rescuing colonists from a volcanic eruption on New Hawaii. Kate's ships had evacuated 30,000 people in 2 days. The operation went perfectly, and no one got hurt. It was the kind of mission Kate's fleet was designed for. Deep beneath Earth's surface, in vast underground complexes, humanity's old war machines slept. These massive facilities had been built during the last real wars, before the Great Unification. Huge factories that could produce thousands of ships, computer systems designed to plan battles across multiple star systems, weapons that could crack planets open. The old governments had sealed these places after the wars ended. They left instructions for future generations. If humanity ever faced extinction, break the seals and wake the machines. But that was 3 centuries ago. Most people had forgotten the complexes existed. The few who remembered thought of them as museums, relics of a darker time. Dr. Marcus Cole was one of the few who studied those old times. He worked as a military historian, teaching at the Earth Defense Academy. His students were mostly bored. They wanted to learn about space navigation and disaster relief. Ancient wars seemed pointless to them. Why study weapons when humanity had moved beyond violence? Marcus tried to explain that the old war machines represented incredible human achievement. When faced with total destruction, their ancestors had built the most powerful military force in human history. The machines were proof that humans could do amazing things when they had to. But his students just wanted to pass their tests and get assignments on peaceful exploration ships. Jake Morrison finished his morning inspection of Station Alpha. All systems were green. The fusion reactors hummed quietly. The artificial gravity systems worked perfectly. The communications array received signals from across human space. Cargo ships docked and undocked on schedule. Another peaceful day in humanity's golden age. He thought about his daughter Amy, who was studying to be a doctor on Earth. She wanted to work in the colonies, helping people stay healthy in strange new environments. Jake was proud of her. She would spend her life making people's lives better, just like her father protected them from above. Lisa Parker looked at her newest designs for atmospheric processors. These machines could change a planet's air in just 50 years instead of 200. With this technology, humanity could live on almost any world. They could spread across the galaxy without hurting anyone. They could build a civilization based on science and peace. Ben Rodriguez checked his ship's position as they approached Earth's solar system. The Pioneer would dock at Station Beta in 6 hours. His crew was excited to see their families again. They had discovered 2 new planets that might be perfect for colonies. Both worlds had oceans and thick forests. They could become homes for millions of humans. Admiral Kate Sullivan signed the final budget documents. Her fleet would lose 10 ships this year. The government was converting them to cargo haulers and passenger transports. Politicians said the military was too expensive for a peaceful galaxy. Kate disagreed, but she followed orders. Maybe they were right. Maybe humanity really had moved beyond war. Earth turned slowly in space, blue and green and beautiful. 3 billion humans lived on the surface. 47 colonies spread across nearby star systems held 2 billion more. They all lived in peace. They built things instead of destroying them. They explored instead of conquering. They had created something wonderful. None of them knew that in the darkness between the stars, other eyes watched their peaceful ships. Other minds studied their undefended colonies. Other species had different ideas about how the galaxy should work. Humanity's golden age was about to end. Dr. Marcus Cole stood before the massive steel doors deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The entrance to Complex Alpha had not been opened in 300 years. Thick dust covered the warning signs written in 12 languages. Danger, automated. Weapon system, authorized personnel only. His team carried the authorization codes that had been sealed in government vaults since the Great Unification. Each code was split into pieces and held by different world leaders. It had taken 6, Hours to gather all the pieces as alien ships moved closer to Earth. "Are we sure about this?" asked Dr. Sarah Brooks, the chief engineer. She was young and had spent her career building peaceful machines. The idea of weapons that could destroy planets scared her. "We don't have a choice," Marcus replied. He entered the first code sequence into the ancient control panel. Red lights flashed, and warning sirens echoed through the underground tunnels. Our ancestors built these systems for exactly this situation. The doors began to open with a grinding sound of metal on metal. Air rushed out, carrying the smell of oil and electricity. Emergency lights flickered on, revealing a vast chamber that stretched beyond the reach of their flashlights. Marcus led his team into the complex. Their footsteps echoed off the concrete walls. The ceiling was so high it disappeared in darkness. Huge machines lined the walls, covered in dust but still gleaming with deadly purpose. "Look at the size of this place," Sarah whispered. "How far does it go?" "The records say Complex Alpha extends for 50 miles underground," Marcus answered. "There are 12 more complexes like this across Earth. Our ancestors built them to defend humanity from total extinction." They reached the main control center. Banks of computers filled the room, their screens dark for 3 centuries. In the center sat a command chair surrounded by tactical displays. This was where Earth's defenders had planned the greatest military campaigns in human history. Sarah found the main power controls. "The fusion reactors are still functional. Amazing. 300-year-old technology, and it's still better than most modern systems." She began the startup sequence. Deep beneath their feet, massive generators came to life. The lights grew brighter. Computer screens flickered and displayed information in languages that had changed over the centuries. "System activation in progress," announced a computerized voice. "Please state authorization for weapons release." Marcus spoke the final code phrase, words that had not been spoken for 300 years. "Humanity stands at the edge of extinction. Wake the Guardians." Authorization. Confirmed. Awakening War Machine Production Systems. Estimated time to full operational capacity, 72 hours. The floor vibrated as enormous machines began moving below them. Production lines that had built the most powerful weapons in human history started up again. Automated factories began creating materials for ships and weapons humanity had forgotten how to build. Colonel Steve Williams arrived with a military escort. He was one of the few officers who had studied the old war records. "Dr. Cole, we need to understand what we're dealing with. These aliens destroyed our strongest warships in seconds." Marcus led them to a tactical display that showed Earth's defensive capabilities. "Our ancestors faced a similar crisis during the Unification Wars. Multiple enemies, superior technology, the threat of complete destruction. They solved it by building the most advanced military-industrial complex in human history." The display showed the true scope of the war machine network. 12 major complexes across Earth, each capable of producing a complete fleet. Underground. Factories that could turn raw materials into weapons at incredible speed. Automated systems that could design new weapons faster than any enemy could adapt. "The computers are analyzing the alien technology from Ben Rodriguez's sensor records," Sarah reported. "They're already developing countermeasures. These systems were designed to face any threat to humanity." Colonel Williams studied the production estimates. "According to this, we can build more ships in 1 month than our current fleet represents. But will they be strong enough to fight the aliens?" "The war machines don't just build ships," Marcus explained. "They build whatever humanity needs to survive." If conventional weapons aren't enough, they'll develop new ones. If those aren't enough, they'll develop something beyond our imagination. Reports arrived from the other complexes around the world. Complex Beta in Antarctica was producing advanced fighters. Complex Gamma under the Pacific Ocean was building new types of armor. Complex Delta in Australia was working on weapons that used principles from theoretical physics. The war machines had been dormant for 3 centuries, but they remembered everything. Every battle fought by humanity, every enemy defeated, every innovation that had kept the human species alive. Now they applied that knowledge to a new threat. The aliens think they're attacking a peaceful species, Marcus said. They don't know they just woke up humanity's greatest achievement. Sarah watched the production displays with growing amazement. These systems are beyond anything we built in the peaceful era. They're not just making weapons, they're improving them every hour. Each ship that comes off the production line is better than the last. The first new warships began emerging from the underground shipyards. They looked nothing like the peaceful exploration vessels humanity had built for 3 centuries. These ships were angular and predatory, covered in weapon ports and armor, plating. They carried names from humanity's warrior past: Rage, Vengeance, Defiance. Admiral Kate Sullivan reviewed the technical specifications with disbelief. These ships are 3 times more powerful than our current warships, and this is just the first generation. The computers say they'll have even better designs ready tomorrow. The alien fleet was still approaching Earth. Their ships were powerful, but they were designed to fight peaceful species that surrendered quickly. They had never faced an enemy that could match their production capacity. "How long do we have?" President Scott asked during an emergency briefing. "The alien fleet will reach Earth orbit in 18 hours, General Hayes reported. But our first new battle group will be ready in 12 hours. The war machines are prioritizing defense of the home world." The underground complexes worked around the clock. Robots that had not moved for 3 centuries began mining asteroids for raw materials. Factory ships launched toward the outer planets to harvest resources. The entire solar system became a military production zone. Dr. Marcus Cole stood in the command center, watching humanity prepare for war. The peaceful civilization that had existed that morning was gone. In its place, something older and more dangerous was awakening. Something their ancestors had built to ensure humanity would never be destroyed. "What have we done?" Sarah asked quietly. "What we had to," Marcus replied. "Our ancestors knew this day might come. They knew humanity might face an enemy that could only be defeated with total war. So they built the tools to wage that war. The war machines continued their work. Production lines that had been designed to turn entire planets into weapons factories. Computer systems that could coordinate battles across star systems. Weapons that could crack worlds or vaporize fleets. Humanity had forgotten how to fight, but the machines remembered everything. The aliens were coming, expecting to conquer another peaceful species. Instead, they would face the full fury of humanity's war machine. They would discover that humans had been warriors long before they became explorers, and they would learn that some sleeping giants should never be awakened. The Zephyrian Empire's war fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. War leader Zeph stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominator, and studied the tactical displays. 300 alien warships spread across space, each one capable of destroying entire worlds. "The humans have had their day to surrender," Zeph announced to his officers. "They have chosen death. Begin the attack." Admiral Kate Sullivan watched the alien fleet approach from her command ship, the newly built Defiance. The war machines had worked for 18 hours straight to build Earth's new defense fleet. 150 human warships now protected the home world. They were outnumbered 2-1, but they were no longer helpless. "All ships, this is Admiral Sullivan," she broadcast to the human fleet. "We are not the same species the aliens attacked yesterday. Today, we show them what happens when you threaten humanity's home." The first alien ships targeted Earth's orbital stations. Green energy beams lanced through space, expecting to vaporize the defensive platforms like they had destroyed Kepler Station. Instead, the beams struck new armor plating and dispersed harmlessly. "Direct hit on Station Alpha," reported Captain Tony Martinez from the surface. "No damage. The new shields are holding." The war machines had not just built new ships, they had upgraded every defense around Earth. The orbital stations now carried weapons that could hurt alien ships. The surface installations could project energy shields around entire continents. War leader Zeph frowned at his tactical display. "Why are their defenses intact? Our weapons should have destroyed those stations." "The humans have upgraded their technology," his science officer reported. "These are not the same weak defenses we encountered at their colonies." The alien fleet moved closer to Earth, expecting easy victory. Instead, they met the full firepower of humanity's awakened war machine. New weapons, designed in hours by computers that had studied alien technology, reached out across space. Human ships fired particle beams that cut through alien armor. Missile swarms overwhelmed alien point defenses, energy weapons based on principles. The Zephyrians had never seen carved holes in their hulls. "Impossible!" Zeph snarled as 3 of his ships exploded. "How can this primitive species have such weapons?" He did not understand that he was not fighting the same humanity that had sent peaceful exploration ships to the stars. He was fighting a species that had awakened its capacity for total war. Captain Ellen Wright commanded the human destroyer Vengeance. Her ship was smaller than the alien cruisers, but it was faster and carried weapons designed specifically to fight Zephyrian technology. "Target their weapon clusters," Ellen ordered. "The computers have identified weak points in their armor." Human ships swarmed around the larger alien vessels like angry wasps. They used speed and numbers to overcome superior firepower. When one human ship was destroyed, 2 more took its place. The war machines were building new ships faster than the aliens could destroy them. Dr. Lisa Parker had been pulled from her terraforming research to work on military projects. She now designed weapons instead of gardens. Her new assignment was to study captured alien technology and find ways to improve human defenses. "Their energy weapons use a frequency we can disrupt," she reported to the military command. "I'm uploading new shield modifications to all our ships." The battle raged across the solar system. Alien ships tried to break through to Earth's surface, but human defenders fought them at every step. Mars became a fortress world, its factories converted to produce ammunition and spare parts. Europa's ice mines provided reaction mass for human ships. Captain Tony Martinez led ground forces preparing for alien invasion. The war machines had equipped his soldiers with powered armor and weapons that could destroy alien battlesuits. Underground bunkers protected civilian populations, while surface defenses prepared to repel landing forces. "The aliens are trying to land troops on the night side of the planet," Tony reported. "All defensive positions are ready." The first alien landing craft broke through Earth's atmosphere, their hulls glowing red-hot from re-entry. They expected to find defenseless cities and terrified civilians. Instead, They met automated defense turrets and soldiers equipped with weapons from humanity's military archives. The battle for Earth's surface was brutal. Alien soldiers were individually superior to humans, but human defenders had the advantage of fighting for their home world. Every city became a fortress. Every street became a battlefield. War leader, Zeph realized his invasion was failing. The humans were not surrendering as every other species had done. Instead, they were fighting with desperate courage that shocked his soldiers. "How many ships have we lost?" he demanded. 43 destroyed, 17 severely damaged, his tactical officer reported. "The humans are replacing their losses faster than we can inflict them." This was unprecedented in Zephyrian military history. No species had ever matched their production capacity. No enemy had ever fought back with such determination. Dr. Marcus Cole monitored the battle from the War Machine Command Center. The ancient computers had analyzed every aspect of the alien attack and were already developing new countermeasures. "The enemy is using standard conquest tactics," the computer announced. "Overwhelming firepower followed by occupation. They expect surrender after initial losses." "They don't understand humans," Marcus replied. "Show them what we do to invaders." The war machines activated their next phase. Hidden weapons platforms throughout the solar system came online. Asteroid bases that had been disguised as mining operations revealed massive railguns. Automated factories began producing new types of ships designed specifically to hunt alien vessels. The tide of battle began to turn. Human ships, improved with each hour of combat data, started winning individual engagements. Alien crews, who had never faced serious resistance, began to retreat when faced with human determination. Colonel Steve Williams coordinated the defense of Earth's orbital space. "Their command ship is hanging back behind their main fleet. If we can reach it, we might break their coordination." A squadron of human fighters, so new their paint was still wet, made a desperate run at the alien flagship. They flew through massive crossfire, losing half their number, but 3 ships reached the Dominator. War leader Zeph watched in disbelief as human fighters attacked his personal ship. No enemy had ever been brave enough or skilled enough to reach his flagship. These humans fought like creatures possessed. The human attack failed to destroy the Dominator, but it sent a message. Earth was not helpless. Humanity would fight for every meter of space around their home world. General Rick Hayes studied the tactical situation. "We're holding them, but barely. They still outnumber us, and their individual ships are more powerful. The war machines are producing our first capital ships," Admiral Sullivan reported. "Heavy cruisers with firepower to match their largest vessels. They'll be ready in 6 hours." The siege of Earth continued through the night. Human defenders fought with weapons that improved every hour. Alien attackers found themselves facing an enemy they did not understand. The humans should have surrendered by now. Instead, they grew stronger with each battle. As Earth's sun rose over the battlefield, war leader Zeph faced a situation no Zephyrian commander had encountered in 1,000 years of conquest. The enemy was not breaking. They were learning, and they were building weapons to kill his ships. For the first time in his career, Zeph considered retreat. But the Zephyrian Empire did not retreat. They conquered or they died trying. He did not know that humanity's war machines had just begun to wake up. The war had raged for 6 months. Earth's orbital space was filled with the wreckage of both human and alien ships. The Zephyrian Empire had brought reinforcements 3 times, but humanity's war machines matched them ship for ship. What had begun as a simple conquest had become the longest battle in Zephyrian history. Captain Ellen Wright stood on the bridge of her new ship, the Retribution. It was humanity's first heavy cruiser, built with technology that had not existed when the war began. The war machines learned from every battle, improving their designs with each ship that rolled off the production lines. "Captain, we're receiving new tactical data from the War Machine Network," her weapons officer reported. "They've identified patterns in alien fleet movements." Ellen studied the display. The computers had been analyzing alien behavior for months. They now understood Zephyrian tactics better than the aliens understood them themselves. "All ships. This is Captain Wright. New battle plan incoming. We're going to show these aliens something they've never seen before." The human fleet had grown to over 500 ships. Each vessel carried weapons designed specifically to exploit Zephyrian weaknesses. Human fighters moved in swarms that confused alien targeting systems. Human cruisers fired weapons that could penetrate alien armor. Major Frank Turner commanded ground forces on Mars, which had become humanity's forward military base. The Red Planet's factories now produced more weapons in one day than Earth had built in the previous century. "The aliens are trying another landing on Sector 7, Frank reported. "All defensive positions are ready." Alien troops had learned to fear fighting humans on the ground. Human soldiers fought with a ferocity that shocked Zephyrian veterans. They used tactics the aliens had never encountered. They refused to surrender even when facing certain death. Dr. Sarah Brooks worked in the War Machine's central research facility deep beneath Earth's surface. Her team had captured alien technology and reverse-engineered weapons beyond human imagination. "We've completed analysis of their command and control systems," she announced. "The war machines have developed a virus that can disrupt their communications." The virus was more than just computer code. It was a weapon designed by artificial intelligences that had studied warfare for 3 centuries. When deployed, it would blind the alien fleet and leave their ships fighting independently. Commander Gary Foster led a reconnaissance mission to the edge of the solar system. His stealth ship, invisible to alien sensors, had been gathering intelligence on enemy reinforcements. "I'm detecting massive energy signatures beyond Pluto," Gary reported. "The aliens have built a forward base. It's coordinating their entire operation." This was the breakthrough humanity needed. The war machines analyzed Gary's data and identified the alien command center. If that base could be destroyed, the Zephyrian fleet would lose coordination and supply lines. Admiral Kate Sullivan reviewed the attack plan in Earth's war room. The ancient computers had designed an operation more complex than anything humanity had attempted before. "We'll hit them with everything we have," Kate explained to her officers. "The war machines have built our first dreadnought. It's larger than anything the aliens have, and it carries enough firepower to destroy their base." The dreadnought Humanity's Wrath emerged from Earth's largest shipyard. It was a kilometer long and bristling with weapons. Its armor could withstand anything the aliens could throw at it. Its shields were powered by reactors that could light up entire star systems. War leader Zeph watched the massive human ship approach, his position. In 6 months of fighting, the humans had gone from helpless victims to equals. Now they had built something that might be superior to his own flagship. "How is this possible?" he demanded. 6 months ago, their largest ships were cargo haulers. His science officer studied the readings. "Their industrial capacity appears to be unlimited. They're building ships faster than we can destroy them, and each new design is more advanced than the last." The Zephyrian Empire had conquered 200 species, but they had never faced an enemy like humanity. Other races surrendered when faced with superior force. Humans just built bigger weapons. The final battle began when humanity launched Operation Lightning Strike. 500 human ships attacked the alien fleet, while the Dreadnought led a direct assault on the enemy command base. Captain Ellen Wright coordinated the main attack. All squadrons execute attack pattern Delta. Target their command ships first. Human fighters swarmed around alien cruisers, launching missiles that could penetrate any armor. Human cruisers fired particle beams that cut through alien hulls like paper. The virus that Dr. Brooks had designed infected alien computer systems, leaving their ships blind and confused. Major Frank Turner launched ground troops in assault shuttles, targeting alien positions on captured asteroids. Human soldiers, equipped with powered armor and energy weapons, overwhelmed alien defensive positions that had been considered impregnable. The Dreadnought Humanity's Wrath smashed through the alien defensive line like a battering ram. Its massive guns fired continuously, destroying any ship that challenged it. War Leader Zeph's flagship, the Dominator, moved to intercept. "This ends now," Zeph declared. "No primitive species defeats the Zephyrian Empire." The two massive ships engaged in single combat while the battle raged around them. Alien weapons that could crack planets struck human armor designed by machines that understood war better than any living being. Human weapons that could vaporize moons found targets on alien hulls. The battle lasted for hours. Both ships took terrible damage. But the human dreadnought had been built for this exact purpose, while the alien flagship was designed to intimidate rather than fight equals. Humanity's Wrath delivered the killing blow, its main guns, powered by the same reactors that lit Earth's cities, punched through the Dominator's armor and destroyed its reactor core. War Leader Zeph's flagship exploded like a dying star. The alien command base fell 30 minutes later. Human assault troops, led by Major Turner, captured the facility intact. The Zephyrian fleet, suddenly cut off from orders and supplies, began to retreat. "All alien ships are withdrawing," Admiral Sullivan announced. "Earth space is secure." But the war was not over. The aliens had retreated to regroup, not to surrender. They would return with larger fleets and better weapons. The Zephyrian Empire had never been defeated, and they would not accept defeat now. Dr. Marcus Cole studied the intelligence captured from the alien base. "This is just the beginning," he warned. "The Zephyrians control hundreds of star systems. They have fleets spread across half the galaxy. The war machines had already begun adapting to this new reality. Production facilities expanded to other star systems. New ship designs emerged that could fight in deep space. Weapons that could destroy entire fleets appeared on the assembly lines." "The aliens made one mistake," Sarah Brooks observed. "They thought we were like the other species they conquered. They thought we would give up when faced with superior force. Instead, we became superior force," Ellen Wright added. "The war machines have turned humanity into something the galaxy has never seen before." President Laura Scott addressed the human population from the rebuilt Capitol. "We have defended our home, but the threat remains. The aliens will return, and when they do, we will be ready." The turning point had been reached. Humanity was no longer the peaceful species that had sent exploration ships to map the stars. They had become something harder, something deadlier. They had become a species capable of total war. The war machines continued their work, building the tools humanity would need for the battles to come. The Zephyrian Empire had awakened something that would not rest until the threat was eliminated forever. Earth's children had learned to fight, and they were very good at it. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of humanity's newest flagship, the Vengeance of Earth. 8 months had passed since the aliens retreated from Earth space. The war machines had used that time to build the largest military fleet in human history. Fleet status report, Kate ordered. 2,000 combat vessels ready for operation, her aide replied. 500 heavy cruisers, 300 dreadnoughts, and the rest destroyers and fighters. All ships are equipped with the latest war machine technology. Kate nodded. The numbers still amazed her. Before the war, humanity's entire fleet had been 200 ships. Now they had built 10 times that number, and each new ship was more powerful than anything that came before. The first target was the Proxima system, where the aliens had built a major base. Intelligence from captured Zephyrian computers showed it was a key supply depot for their regional operations. More importantly, it was where they held human prisoners from the destroyed colonies. Captain Tony Martinez commanded the ground assault forces. His soldiers were no longer the peacekeepers. They had been before the war. They were hardened veterans equipped with weapons that could destroy alien battle armor. "Remember, we have people to rescue," Tony told his troops. "The aliens have been holding our colonists for 8 months. We're bringing them home." The human fleet jumped into Proxima space and found the alien base exactly where intelligence had predicted. But the Zephyrians were not the same enemy that had first attacked Earth. They had learned to fear human determination. "Alien fleet detected," reported Captain Ellen Wright from her ship, the Retribution. 50 vessels, including 2 heavy cruisers. "They're moving to intercept." "All ships, attack formation Alpha," Kate commanded. "Show them what humanity learned from defending Earth." The battle was swift and brutal. Human weapons, improved through months of combat experience, tore through alien defenses. The war machines had analyzed every aspect of Zephyrian technology and built counters for everything. Alien energy weapons that had once seemed unstoppable now met human shields, designed specifically to absorb that frequency. Alien armor that had protected their ships for centuries cracked under human particle beams. Alien tactics that had conquered 200 species failed against human adaptability. "Enemy base is defenseless," Ellen reported. "Beginning bombardment of military targets." But the humans did not simply destroy the base. They had learned the value of intelligence from their defensive battles. Major Frank Turner led assault troops in a precision strike to capture alien computers and command personnel. "We need information about their empire," Frank explained as his soldiers moved through the alien base. "The war machines can use their data to plan attacks on other systems." The human assault teams found more than just military intelligence. In the lower levels of the base, they discovered the prison camps where Zephyrian forces held captured humans. Dr. Lisa Parker, now serving as a military scientist, examined the conditions in the alien prison camps. What she found there changed her forever. "They're not just holding prisoners," she reported with horror. "They're conducting experiments, medical tests. They're studying human biology to find better ways to kill us." The rescued colonists told stories of systematic torture and medical experimentation. The Zephyrians had been treating humans like laboratory animals, trying to understand human biology and psychology to make their conquest more efficient. Colonel Steve Williams reviewed the interrogation reports from captured alien officers. "They've done this to every species they've conquered. It's standard procedure for them. They study their enemies to better control them." The discovery eliminated any possibility of negotiated peace. The Zephyrians were not just conquerors. They were monsters who enjoyed the suffering of other species. Humanity's response was swift and absolute. "No quarter," Admiral Sullivan announced to the fleet. These aliens have shown us what they really are. We respond in kind. The war machines adapted their production to reflect this new understanding. Ships designed for conquest rather than defense rolled off the assembly lines. Weapons meant to destroy entire fleets appeared in human arsenals. The peaceful exploration vessels of humanity's past were replaced by instruments of total war. Commander, Gary Foster led reconnaissance missions deep into alien space. His stealth ships mapped Zephyrian positions and identified targets for human assault fleets. They have major bases in 12 systems within 50 light-years of Earth, Gary reported. Each base supports their military operations and contains prison facilities for captured species. The Human Liberation Campaign began in earnest. Fleet after fleet jumped into alien-controlled systems, destroying military installations and freeing prisoners. What had begun as defense of Earth became a crusade to end Zephyrian tyranny. Captain Ellen Wright commanded the liberation of the Wolf 359 system. Her task force of 100 ships overwhelmed the alien garrison in 6 hours. Prison camps secured, she reported. We've freed 15,000 humans and aliens from 12 different species. The aliens have been experimenting on all of them. Each liberated system revealed new horrors. The Zephyrians had turned entire planets into laboratories where they studied captured species. They had been perfecting their methods of conquest and control for over 1,000 years. Dr. Sarah Brooks analyzed captured alien technology and found ways to turn it against its creators. Their weapons use quantum targeting systems, she explained. I've developed jammers that will make their guns useless. The war machines incorporated every captured technology into human designs. Ships that had been built with purely human technology were upgraded with improved alien systems. Weapons that combined human innovation with alien principles appeared on the production lines. Major Frank Turner led the assault on the Tau Ceti system, where the aliens had built a major research facility. His troops fought through automated defenses and alien battlesuits to reach the laboratories. You need to see this, Frank reported to command. They're not just studying biology, they're developing biological weapons, diseases designed to target specific species. The Tau Ceti facility contained plans for weapons that could wipe out entire civilizations without damaging their planets. The Zephyrians had been preparing to commit genocide on a galactic scale. How many species have they already destroyed with these weapons? President Laura Scott asked during an emergency briefing. At least 30, Dr. Marcus Cole replied after studying the alien records. Entire civilizations that simply vanished. We thought they were natural disasters or evolutionary dead ends. They were murdered. The revelation strengthened human resolve. This was not just a war for survival, it was a war to prevent galactic genocide. Humanity had become the defender of species they had never met, fighting for civilizations they might never encounter. The war machines responded by increasing production beyond anything previously imagined. Entire star systems were converted to military-industrial complexes. Asteroid belts became factories. Gas giants became fuel sources for the growing human war fleet. Admiral Kate Sullivan reviewed the strategic situation 6 months after the first offensive began. We've liberated 18 systems and freed over 2 million prisoners, but intelligence indicates the aliens have bases in over 200 systems. Then we build enough ships to liberate all of them, replied General Rick Hayes. The war machines have given us the tools. Now we use them. The human fleet had grown to 5,000 ships, with more launching every day. Each vessel carried weapons that could destroy alien installations and armor that could withstand anything the enemy could deploy. But the Zephyrians were adapting too. Intelligence reports indicated they were developing new weapons specifically designed to fight human technology. The empire that had conquered half the galaxy would not fall easily. "They're learning to fear us," Ellen Wright observed. "Good. Fear will make them desperate, and desperate enemies make mistakes." The war between humanity and the Zephyrian Empire had entered a new phase. No longer fighting for survival, humans now fought for justice. They had become the galaxy's immune system, hunting down a cancer that had spread across the stars for 1,000 years. The peaceful species that had once explored the cosmos in search of knowledge had become something far more dangerous. They had become humanity unleashed, and they would not stop until every prison camp was empty and every Zephyrian base was rubble. The war machines continued their relentless production, building the tools of liberation. And somewhere in the darkness, between the stars, other species began to hear rumors of a new power that fought not for conquest, but for freedom. Humanity was coming, and they were very angry. General Rick Hayes stood in the command center of Fortress Europa, humanity's largest military production facility. Through the transparent aluminum windows, he could see the construction yards where new warships emerged every hour. The scale of production had grown beyond anything the old Earth could have imagined. "Production report," Rick requested from his aide. 10,000 combat vessels currently in service across 47 star systems," came the reply. "Daily production rate, 200 ships. The war machines have automated 90% of the construction process." Rick nodded grimly. The numbers were staggering, but they represented something darker than mere military might. Humanity had transformed itself into a species dedicated entirely to warfare. The peaceful civilization that had explored the stars was gone, replaced by something harder and more dangerous. Dr. Sarah Brooks worked in Research Complex 7, where teams of scientists developed weapons that pushed the boundaries of known physics. Her latest project involved manipulating gravitational fields to create weapons that could collapse entire star systems. "The war machines have approved the new design," she announced to her team. "We can now build weapons that destroy not just fleets, but the space around them." Her assistant, a young engineer named Mike Clark, looked uncomfortable. "Dr. Brooks, these weapons could destroy inhabited planets. Are we sure we want this kind of power?" Sarah's expression hardened. "The aliens destroyed 30 entire species with biological weapons. They turned genocide into a science. We're developing the tools to make sure they never get the chance to do it again." The war had changed everyone. Scientists who once created gardens now designed weapons of mass destruction. Engineers who built cities now constructed machines that could crack worlds. Even children played games about hunting aliens instead of exploring new planets. Captain Ben Rodriguez had been rescued from a Zephyrian prison camp 6 months earlier. The aliens had kept him alive for interrogation, not knowing he had become humanity's most valuable intelligence asset. His reports on alien society had shaped human strategy for the ongoing war. "The Zephyrian Empire is not just a military force," Ben explained during a strategic briefing. "It's a collection of conquered species held together by fear. If we can break their central control, the entire empire will collapse." Ben's intelligence revealed that the aliens ruled through terror rather than loyalty. Most of their subject species were slaves who would rebel if given the chance. Humanity's war was not just against the Zephyrians, but for the liberation of hundreds of enslaved civilizations. Admiral Kate Sullivan commanded Task Force Alpha, the largest fleet in human history. 1,000 ships under her direct control, with the firepower to sterilize entire star systems. She was preparing for the most ambitious operation humanity had ever attempted. "Target analysis complete," her tactical officer reported. The Zephyrian capital system contains their primary command structure, their largest military academies, and their central computer networks. If we can capture it intact, we can coordinate the liberation of their entire empire. Kate studied the tactical display. The capital system was defended by over 3,000 alien ships, including their most advanced vessels. It would be the largest battle in galactic history. "The war machines have built us the tools we need," Kate said. "Now we use them." Captain Ellen Wright commanded the new super dreadnought Terra's Fury, a ship so large it required its own escort. Fleet. Her vessel carried enough firepower to destroy small moons and armor that could withstand the gravitational weapons the aliens had started using. "All weapon systems show green," her weapons officer reported. "The war machine AI has loaded tactical programs for every type of alien ship we might encounter." Ellen nodded. The artificial intelligences that ran humanity's war machine had evolved far beyond their original programming. They now created strategies and weapons that no human mind could have conceived. They had become the most dangerous military minds in the galaxy. Major Frank Turner led the ground assault forces preparing for the invasion of the Zephyrian capital world. His soldiers wore armor that could survive planetary bombardment and carried weapons that could vaporize alien battle tanks. "Remember, our job is not just to win," Frank told his troops. "We need to capture their leadership alive. The war machines want to study Zephyrian command psychology to better predict their tactics." The human military had become a learning organism. Every battle provided data that improved future operations. Every captured alien provided intelligence that revealed new weaknesses. The war machines processed all of this information and constantly improved human capabilities. Commander Gary Foster led the reconnaissance fleet that had mapped the approaches to the Zephyrian capital. His stealth ships had spent months observing alien defenses and identifying attack routes. Their defensive strategy relies on overlapping fields of fire from orbital platforms, Gary reported. But the war machines have identified gaps we can exploit. We can punch through their defenses if we're willing to accept heavy losses. "Define heavy losses," Admiral Sullivan asked. 30% casualties in the first wave. Maybe 50% for the ships that break through to the planet. Kate considered the numbers. In the old days, such losses would have been unthinkable, but humanity was no longer the peaceful species it had once been. They had learned to accept any sacrifice necessary for victory. Dr. Marcus Cole studied the historical records of the Zephyrian Empire from captured databases. What he found there convinced him that humanity's transformation was not just necessary, but inevitable. "They've been doing this for over 2,000 years, Marcus explained to the government council. "Every species they encounter faces the same choice: submit or die. They've perfected the process of conquest and enslavement." "How many civilizations have they destroyed?" President Laura Scott asked. "Complete data is not available, but the minimum estimate is 500 species, billions of individuals. Some entire star clusters have been depopulated by their expansion." The scope of Zephyrian atrocities had grown with each captured database. They had not just conquered the galaxy, they had emptied vast regions of intelligent life. Only humanity had successfully resisted their expansion. Colonel Steve Williams coordinated the logistics for Operation Final Strike, the assault on the Zephyrian capital. The complexity of moving 10,000 ships across hundreds of light years required computers that had never existed before the war. Supply lines are established across 47 systems, Steve reported. The war machines have automated most of the process, but we're still moving more material than the entire pre-war economy of Earth. The human war machine had grown beyond anything its creators had imagined. Entire star systems were now dedicated to military production. Planets that had once grown food now manufactured ammunition. Gas giants that had powered peaceful cities now fueled weapons of unimaginable destruction. Dr. Lisa Parker worked on biological weapons designed to target Zephyrian physiology specifically. The discovery of alien biological warfare programs had convinced humanity to develop their own. We can create viruses that will only affect Zephyrian biology, Lisa explained. Their own research has given us detailed knowledge of their immune systems. Are you comfortable with this work? President Scott asked during a private meeting. Lisa's expression was cold. They developed diseases to wipe out entire species, including ours. I'm developing a way to make sure they never use those weapons again. The war had changed humanity in ways they were only beginning to understand. The peaceful explorers who had sent greeting messages to alien civilizations were gone. In their place was a species capable of genocide, held back only by their own moral restraints. The final preparations for Operation Final Strike continued across human space. The war machines worked continuously, building new ships and weapons for the assault. Their artificial minds had calculated every variable and concluded that victory was possible, but only with overwhelming force. One more battle, Admiral Sullivan announced to her fleet commanders. One final push, and we end this war forever. But even as they prepared for victory, some humans wondered what they had become. The war machines that had saved humanity from extinction had also transformed them into something their ancestors might not recognize. Captain Tony Martinez, now commanding a heavy cruiser in the assault fleet, asked the question that haunted many human officers: when this war is over, will we be able to stop being warriors? The war machines offered no answer to that question. They had been built to ensure humanity's survival, and they had succeeded beyond all expectations. But they had also created something new, a species that had learned not just to fight, but to enjoy fighting. The Zephyrian Empire was about to discover what happened when you awakened humanity's capacity for total war. But humanity was also about to discover what they had become in the process. The final battle was coming, and after it, nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. 1 year had passed since the fall of the Zephyrian Empire. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the observation deck of Orbital Command Station above the former alien capital world, now renamed Liberation. Through the transparent walls, she could see the massive human fleet that patrolled the system, 500 ships maintaining order in what had once been the center of galactic tyranny. Status report on the integration process, Kate requested from her aide. 73 former Zephyrian systems have requested human protection, came the reply. We have established military bases in 41 systems and are processing applications from the remainder. The freed species are adapting to self-governance, but most still require our oversight. Kate nodded. The galaxy had found stability under human leadership, but it was a stability enforced by the largest military fleet in known history. The war machines continued their relentless production, churning out new ships faster than any potential enemy could match. President Laura Scott reviewed reports from across human space in her office on Earth. The planet looked much the same as it had before the war, but everything had changed. The peaceful world of exploration and scientific research was gone, replaced by the capital of a galactic military empire. Population report from the colony worlds, her secretary announced. Human population across our territory has reached 15 billion, Laura read. Military personnel account for 30% of the total. The war machine facilities employ another 20%. Only half our population is engaged in civilian occupations. The numbers told the story of humanity's transformation. They had become a warrior species by necessity, but that transformation had proven irreversible. Even children born after the war grew up in a society where military service was considered the highest calling. Dr. Marcus Cole taught military history at the Earth Defense Academy, now the largest educational institution on the planet. His students were no longer bored by lessons about ancient wars. They studied them with the intensity of people who expected to fight their own battles soon. The Zephyrian Empire controlled this region of the galaxy for 2,000 years. Marcus explained to his class. Their downfall teaches us that no military force is invincible. But it also teaches us that we must remain vigilant. Other empires exist beyond our current borders. His students took careful notes. These were not the peace-loving youth of the old Earth. They were the children of the war generation, raised with the knowledge that survival required strength and the will to use it. Captain Ellen Wright commanded the heavy cruiser Eternal Vigilance on patrol along the borders of human space. Her ship was one of hundreds that maintained the peace through a visible show of force. Every system knew that challenging human authority meant facing weapons that could destroy worlds. Contact on long-range sensors, her tactical officer reported. Unknown ship configuration approaching the border. Ellen studied the sensor readings. Another first contact situation, the 5th this month. Word was spreading through the galaxy that a new power had emerged, one that had defeated the seemingly invincible Zephyrians. Standard first contact protocols, Ellen ordered. But keep weapons ready. We don't make the same mistakes our ancestors made. The approaching ship belonged to the Andromedan Trade Confederation, a collection of merchant species from beyond the galactic rim. They had come seeking trade agreements and mutual defense pacts. Like many others, they had heard that humans made better allies than enemies. Dr. Sarah Brooks worked in the research complexes that had once developed peaceful technologies. Her current project involved adapting alien technologies for human use, but the distinction between civilian and military applications had blurred beyond recognition. The gravitational manipulation technology we captured from the Zephyrians has civilian applications, she reported to the Science Council. We can use it to move asteroids for mining operations or to adjust planetary orbits for optimal climate. But everyone knew that the same technology could be weaponized instantly if needed. The war machines had made sure that every human innovation could be turned to military purposes at a moment's notice. Captain Tony Martinez governed the former Zephyrian world of Fortress Prime, now a major human military base. The planet's original population had been enslaved for centuries, and they welcomed human liberation. But they also feared their new protectors. The local population is adapting well to human administration, Tony reported during his monthly briefing. But they're clearly terrified of us. They've heard what we did to the Zephyrian military leadership. The trials of Zephyrian war criminals had sent a message across the galaxy. Humanity showed mercy to enslaved species and conquered populations, but no forgiveness for those who had committed genocide. The punishments had been swift, public, and final. Commander Gary Foster led exploration fleets that mapped the territories beyond the former Zephyrian Empire. His ships were called exploration vessels, but they carried enough firepower to conquer small star systems. No human expedition would ever again be defenseless against hostile contact. We've identified 3 major powers beyond our current borders, Gary reported. The crystalline hierarchy, the machine collective, and something called the hive mind. Each controls hundreds of systems. Threat assessment? Admiral Sullivan asked. Unknown. They're all powerful enough to challenge us if they unite. But they seem more interested in observing us than confronting us. Our reputation preceded us. The galaxy had learned to fear human military capabilities. Stories of the war against the Zephyrians had spread through trade networks and diplomatic channels. Most species preferred negotiation to testing humanity's willingness to fight. Dr. Lisa Parker continued her work on biological research, but her projects now served dual purposes. Medicines that could cure diseases were designed to be compatible with human military enhancement programs. Agricultural improvements that could feed growing populations were tested for compatibility with military logistics. We're developing medical treatments that can extend human lifespan by 50%, Lisa announced to the scientific community. The applications for deep space exploration are obvious. But unspoken was the military application. Soldiers who could fight longer, officers who could accumulate decades of combat experience, fleets that could maintain experienced crews for extended campaigns. Major Frank Turner trained the next generation of human ground forces at the Military Academy on Mars. His students were volunteers from across human space, eager to serve in the forces that had liberated the galaxy. Remember, we are not conquerors, Frank told his soldiers. We are liberators and protectors, but we are also the most dangerous military force the galaxy has ever seen. That combination of purpose and power is what keeps the peace. The human military had evolved into something unprecedented, a force that fought not for territory or resources, but for principles. They had become the galaxy's police force, maintaining order through overwhelming strength. Commander Jake Morrison, who had begun the story as a peaceful observer of Earth's orbital traffic, now commanded the defense grid of the entire Sol system. His job had expanded from managing cargo ships to coordinating the movements of the largest military fleet in galactic history. Daily traffic report, Jake requested. 2,000 military vessels departed for patrol assignments, his aide replied. 500 cargo ships carrying supplies to outer bases. 300 diplomatic vessels traveling to negotiation sessions with minor powers. Even the routine traffic around Earth reflected humanity's transformation. Military vessels outnumbered civilian ships by significant margins. The peaceful trade that had once defined human space was now secondary to military operations. President Laura Scott addressed the Galaxy Council, the new governing body that had replaced the Zephyrian Empire's tyrannical rule. Representatives from 200 species gathered to hear humanity's vision for galactic governance. We did not seek to become the dominant power in this region of space, Laura told the assembled delegates. But we will not abandon the responsibility that victory has given us. Peace will be maintained. Genocide will not be tolerated. Slavery will not be permitted. The delegates listened respectfully, knowing that human warships enforced every word. Some species genuinely appreciated human protection. Others submitted because they had no choice. All understood that the galaxy now operated under human rules. The war machines continued their endless production, building ships and weapons for threats that might never materialize. They had been designed to ensure humanity's survival, and they interpreted that mission broadly. Every potential enemy was studied. Every possible threat was analyzed. Countermeasures were developed for scenarios that existed only in computer simulations. Admiral Kate Sullivan reviewed the strategic situation from her command center. Human forces now patrolled territories that spanned thousands of light years. Humanity had become what the Zephyrians had once been, the dominant military power in their region of the galaxy. Are we the same species that sent peaceful greeting? Messages to the stars? Kate wondered aloud to her staff. No, ma'am, replied her aide, a young officer who had never known peacetime. We're something better. We're the species that ended 1,000 years of galactic tyranny. But the question haunted many human leaders. They had saved the galaxy from the Zephyrian Empire. Buh.